nice at the end of a meal to incorporate something sweet, although we probably don't need a super rich, decadent dessert every night of the week. So this is really a nice alternative to, hit that sweet spot without having, something quite so rich for some of the nights of the week. It can also be a great item to take to, a summer barbecue that's lighter, maybe than some of the heavy mayonnaise-based salads, other things that are there. It's, just really versatile. You also don't need to use the fruits that I have out, so I certainly have a tropical theme, but the dressing will really go nicely with any sort of fruit. So let me go ahead and clear out my cutting board so we'll mix our fruits together. This is pretty simple. You just want a variety of colors of fruit and some different size pieces and textures, so you just want some variety. So we have some pineapple here. Probably not going to use quite all of this. We have some sectioned orange wedges, so you can see that there's not any of the white that you might see when you get an orange and slice it into small pieces, and that's intentionally removed. It makes it, almost glistening like a jewel. It's very bright. You can really see the orange color. It just is a lot more refined looking than just chopping up the orange. You can certainly just chop up the orange though. You don't need to go to this trouble. This does take a lot more time. We have some cubed up mango. Some sliced kiwi. And then even though it's not necessarily a tropical fruit, we do have our apple here, and that is really just to add some crunch. So again, in terms of making something that's really enjoyable for the palate, in addition to balancing flavors like we've discussed, it's nice to balance textures, which is what we're doing here. Let's stir this up and you can see the beautiful bright colors. Also add our banana here. I'm doing that kind of at the last minute because it will brown quickly. If you are going to add the banana and take it somewhere, I would recommend that you mix the sauce in. The acid in the sauce from, which we'll add in just a minute, the yogurt and the lime juice, that will help prevent some of these fruits from browning. So the apple will tend to brown. Really the rest of the fruits are going to keep their color. Your banana's not super ripe. You can just take a little slice there in the end and then peel it. I'd recommend having a slightly underripe rather than a slightly overripe banana. An overripe banana is going to become very mushy, especially when we add the tangy sauce. It will start to break that down and disintegrate pretty quickly. So I think just some rounds would be nice. So we'll just do nice rounds. We don't have anything, well, kiwi, nothing in this part of the color spectrum that's round. You can get your escapees in a minute. Maybe next time I won't do them round. So you don't think of bananas as really adding much of a color, but actually with all the other bright colors here, adding that whiter component does give some more variety. And now we're going to make the sauce. Of course, you could just have this as is. It's a beautiful fruit salad. It doesn't really need anything. But you didn't take a cooking class to learn how to mix fruit in a bowl, so we'll do something else to it. So we have a yogurt here. I'm using a plant-based yogurt, but really any yogurt would be fine. You definitely want to use an unsweetened if you're going to add the other ingredient, which is a type of sweetener, so any agave or honey. If you get a lightly sweetened yogurt, you could just omit that and that would be fine. But I like to be more in control of how much I'm adding. So you're much more likely to use less if you're adding it yourself. I'm going to pour it into this measuring cup because it will allow me to pour it. So if you want to pour it over the top of your salad, this will eliminate you from then having to transfer it from a bowl. We'll go ahead and sweeten it. Then we're going to add lime, but we're not just going to juice it. We're going to add the lime zest. So I'm going to pour this in. I'm probably going to need at least this much sweetener. If you have a particularly sour yogurt, you might need a little bit more. So you can just do that. You can get your little manual blender going there. Whisk it in there. All right, so that's pretty well mixed. Let me just taste that for sweetness real quick. All right, that's good. But this yogurt's not very sour, so I could probably even have gotten away with a little bit less sweetener actually with this one. If you had a dairy yogurt, they tend to be much tangier, so you would need at least that much. You could certainly add the juice if you want to this, but to not water this down and to get a really good kick of lime, using the zest would be more effective for that. So you can grate it up right into there if you want. And if you're mixing it all together, you'll get these short little green strings of the zest in there and be able to see it. If you didn't want to see those pieces, you could mince it up really fine and then mix it in as well. So it's really just your preference. So for zesting, you're just trying to get the outside bit of the peel, so just the green part. And some people will hold the zester still and then grate the fruit. I'm someone who tends to move the zester and hold the fruit. So like many things in cooking, as long as you're doing something that's safe, there's many right ways to do it. So you can see it's still light green under there. I'm specifically, again, not getting that white part, which is going to add a lot of bitterness. I just find I have more control over it doing it this way because I can really get all the zest off there. You don't have to use the amount of zest that's in the recipe. If you want it like really strong, you can use the whole fruit. If you want it just really subtle, you could add less. Either way is fine. I would caution you against using the whisk at this point. All the little bits of zest will get hung up in the tines of the whisk, so you won't end up with much in your fruit salad, so it's better just to use a spoon at this point. I don't know if you can see through this a little bit. You can see there's some little green strands, so those would stand out against your ingredients if you pour it in. Because, having all these bright, beautiful colors and then pouring something white over it, it can tend to just dull the colors a little bit. So I like to serve them separate, so have the bowl of fruit and then just have a little side dish of the dressing that someone can then drizzle over themselves. And then we'll add some toppings as well. Make sure you get a little bit of everything in there. All right. We have, this is a very, very low calorie sauce, so if someone really likes sauce, they can use a lot. If they just want a little bit, they can do that as well. And then you could also have little individual serving dishes of our other toppings, which are coconut flakes and sliced almonds. I'm actually going to sprinkle those right on the fruit. And so I would probably, serve it like this, and then with a spoon, and then whoever is eating it can stir it together. So this is our tropical fruit salad with lime yogurt sauce. It will definitely meet those cravings you might have for sweets at the end of a meal. Could also be a side dish, a side salad, really gonna brighten up your plate, and I hope you enjoy it.